Hi, I'm Joe Connolly of WCBS News Radio, and producer Neil A. Caruso will join us too. A lot of businesses pivoted during the pandemic, but our guest, Andrew Abitamarco's pivot story is a little bit unusual. He now has two different businesses that are not really that related to each other in their usual product, which is usually the case. There's usually a pretty close tie in. So I want to ask Andrew to tell us about your pandemic pivot story, Andrew.
Hey Joe, thanks for having me today. I appreciate you and WCBS. So my story is pretty interesting. I'm a partner with Jen Gould Lux Events, and I run the operations and the logistics. So I have access to trucks and great labor and great sophisticated manpower. We do high end bar and bat mitzvahs, corporate events, and weddings, and we strictly just transform space. And during the pandemic, unfortunately, we were at a standstill for quite some time, as you all know, and we had to get creative. I wanted to keep my staff moving and grooving, right? I wanted to keep them busy. I wanted them to make money, and I came up with a great idea to get into the moving space, and I formed a company called A La Carting, and A La Carting, can do a lot. Not only can we move people, but we could also declutter, and we could also do clean outs, etc. So I use the word a la carting, moving concierge, because we can get very creative. We've done a lot of different things in the space that's somewhat moving related.
And that was because you had the trucks from the events business, right?
Joe, that's correct. It was just like a natural. I guess they use the word pivot. The last time I pivoted was in basketball. I pivoted left, I pivoted right, and then I went down the middle and would score the basket. So the pivot in business, it was just a natural progression. I was able to leverage my men and my trucking, and with my experience being a logistics operations guy, it was a natural progression. And listen, being in the event business, if we can move in and out of let's call it the Plaza, the Pierre Hotel, all these high-end venues, the Museum of Natural History, people's mansions in the Hamptons doing parties, right? And moving in and out of these venues to transform space, I have to go in and out. So it was such a natural progression because here I am moving in all this decor-related stuff, furniture, florals, acrylic plastic centerpieces for the theatrical tables, installing, lighting, ceiling treatments. So my guys were so good at going in and out of venues. When I say venues, you're talking the high-end venues in New York City, in Westchester County, the country clubs, people's homes in Westchester County, in Greenwich, Connecticut. And basically, I said, my guys can do all this. So
You could
so
move
so
somebody's
starting a
apartment.
la
You could move
carte,
somebody out of their apartment easily.
Joe, that was exactly what had happened. So I was getting phone calls. I was getting phone calls during the standstill. My brother called me. He's like, "Hey Andrew, can you do me a favor? Can you send over a couple of guys with the truck, and can you move my space heaters outside and install them?" I said, "Sure." So I'd send my guys over. Next thing you know, I say, "David, just do me a favor. Take care of them, all right? They're awesome. My employees are like my family. I love them to death." And then I would get another phone call, and it was one of my employees, and she wanted to move from the city back to Westchester to her parents' house during the pandemic. And she says, can you send three guys and the truck to help move?" I said, "No problem. Just take care of the guys." And next thing you know, I'm like, "Wait a second. I got a lot of exposure out on the street with the vehicles that are, insured under the, Jen Gould events." And my guys, God forbid something happens. I said, I gotta do something about this. So a la carting was formed, and I accelerated very quickly. I formed the business. I got the proper insurance, and I learned the industry very quickly. But then again, once
This
again, you got to remember, I was moving in and out. I was, to your point, Joe, I was moving in and out of venues. So to move out of a storage facility or a one-bedroom apartment was very easy for us.
this is such a great story because it shows both how, in a way, simple business can be. People are asking for a service, and you say, wait a minute, I can start selling this. But it also shows how creative a business owner is. to move into like this. Did you have to learn anything about the moving business? You did have a background in logistics, so there is the tie there. But I mean, were there any surprises to the business of moving
You know, I'm
people?
I'm a quick study and I'm a high energy guy. Maybe you can tell by the interview. So I know how to move and I know how to groove, you know, and I tell my clients, we move you so you can groove. And you know, little by little, and I used to back in the day, I used to sell a little bit. So I had experience talking to people and communicating. I'm a great communicator. And you know, so I learned quickly. I did a lot of research. I spent time on the internet. I knew a moving company that actually helps us and still does in the event space. So I knew a little bit about it, and I saw how it could be a profitable business if you work hard. Moving is very hard. Listen, it's not complicated. It's hard work, and you have to be smart, and you have to be somewhat of a people's person because there's a lot of emotions in moving. People, when they move, it's very very emotional. And just like the event world, I don't sell in the event business. Jennifer Gould is basically the sales person, the designer, unbelievable talented woman, and she basically she deals with the clients, the bar mitzvah moms, the bride and the groom, and that's very emotional. So I see how hard she works and the emotions in designing an event. So it's there is synergy between events and moving because it's emotional. It's
Isn't
emotional
that
in a
interesting?
positive
So
way.
there is more of a relationship between these two businesses than I possibly imagined. Another reason we wanted you on was because Neil here wants to ask you about a program. I don't know how much help you needed in business, but you took part in a program that other business owners might be interested in as well. Neil?
Yeah, Joe, we learned about Andrew here from the Launch 1000 program based in Westchester. And so Joe and I were wondering, Andrew, how has Launch 1000, how did that help you get this new business off the ground?
Neil, thank you, and that's a great question. Westchester County brought Launch 1000 to Westchester during the pandemic, and it was an opportunity for I guess entrepreneurs or people that wanted to start a business, and I was one of them. I always wanted to do something. I always had that entrepreneurial spirit. Years ago, I had a swimming pool business called Pool Masters on Long Island, and my best buddy Eric Siegel's still running the gig, and he's doing fantastic. And I was a partner in that, and so I always had that spirit of I guess being an entrepreneur, if you will. So that's why starting a la carting was awesome for me. And Launch 1000, basically, it was an opportunity to de-risk a business, any type of business, whether it was moving, whether it was food, whether it was medical, whether it was nonprofit. And there was hundreds of people on the platform. And basically, there was 7 phases of the program. And it was almost a year, believe it or not. And it was just phenomenal. It was all done virtually. You'd have live coaches, and they would coach you through all the different exercises. And during the program, basically, it just got you from A to Z in a short period of time, de-risking your business opportunity so you don't have to go out of pocket and spend money. And they would basically coach you. So it was like going to business school, okay? It was like business school 101 and 102 combined. And I graduated, and there was a little I guess carrot at the end of the tunnel. If you graduated, you got a grant from Westchester County, which was $2,500. And if you showed revenue during the process, they gave you another $2,500. So here I am enrolling in this class. Not only am I getting a free education, a business education from Westchester County free, I'm getting grant money. And my kids during the pandemic were home, because they were the schools weren't taking them in. They were doing it virtually. They watched me go through this program. They watched me graduate, and they watched me make some money on the side. And they were just so impressed by it that's what made me feel so good about this. Now my son and I, when we talk, he's enrolled in college. He goes to University of Gainesville. He goes to UF. It's in Gainesville, Florida. He's general business. He's talking to me about some of the classes, and he remembers my experiences being on Launch 1000, through Westchester, and it's like he just enjoys talking to me about what it's like to launch a business.
Yeah, wow, that's real world, and I can certainly
100% real world. 100.
yeah,
And my daughter's in 11th grade, and she's watching this happen, and she's got the spirit now. So I think Launch 1000 needs to bring this to all the schools throughout the country. And I'm not
yeah,
selling their product. I'm not selling. I'm very excited, as you can tell, because I have a success story. My success
You
story.
should become a
A la
teacher
carte.
there.
yeah.
And I even have the hat to go with it.
That's great. Yeah, those are the types of that's how students learn. That's how young people learn. It's real world experience. Joe and I have covered some of these stories of schools that are doing financial literacy and bringing real world experience to the classroom. So the good on you and good on the kids. Let me ask you about Westchester and the suburbs in general. Where is the business recovery there today? What are you seeing?
That's a good question. I mean, I do see a difference. The moving business has always been busy. During people were moving, as you guys know, during the pandemic, right? People were leaving the city, right? They were always leaving the city, moving to the suburbs. A lot of people went out east, and people maybe even had gone to Florida, and you guys all know that. And as far as the event business is now picking up. It is now picking up. We are getting back. I'm not going to say to normal, but little by little, we are getting back to normal, which is a wonderful thing. I also noticed, because I talked to the suppliers, being on the ops side and the logistics side, the supply chain. I hear from them that things are starting to pick up, which is exciting. I buy a lot of raw materials for the event business, whether it's wood, it's plywood, or plexiglass, raw materials, and same thing with the packing essentials. These guys that I buy from seem to be getting busier, and they ask me the same question: how do you see your business? And I say, you know what? It's starting to lift. It's starting to lift, and thank God, for that.
You're a great salesperson and a very smart business owner. It's really been enjoyable to listen to you, Andrew. What what sales advice do you
Thank you, Joe.
have
Thank you,
for
Joe.
other business owners?
Well, you gotta work hard, and you have to think a little bit out of the box too. You gotta add value. And I tell my kids this. Everybody's working hard. Everybody's trying to go to the best schools and get great grades. But you gotta also think out of the box. You gotta add value to a conversation. You gotta think sometimes. Somebody once told me you gotta think sometimes upside down, and to the left and to the right. Everything is not always right in front of you. You gotta get creative, and you gotta work hard. You really do, and you have to have it. You have to have it in your belly. You really have to have fire in your belly. I can tell by Joe. I listen to you on the radio. You're unbelievable. You've been doing it forever.
Thank you.
And you love it. You love talking to people. And same thing with Neil. I can tell. How passionate you are. You have to have passion for what you do, and that's with Launch 1000. The same thing. Everybody that was on that platform had such passion for what they wanted to do, and they believed in it. And the program just helped them de-risk. And maybe some people changed their idea because the coaches pushed them to a different direction, because maybe
De
they didn't see light at the end of the tunnel for their platform.
De-risking doesn't get enough attention too, because you can be making more and more money, spinning your wheels faster, and not getting ahead because you have too much risk. One last question: we hear the term added value, value added. Give us an example of something in one of your businesses where you have been able to add value without costing you a whole lot of money.
All right, that's a just Joe. That's a great question. You know, I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you where we add value with a la carting, since it's my new venture, and I'm very excited about it, because we're moving and grooving. But the value add as a mover, anybody can move, right? So,
Right.
but we move a little differently. We add value by bringing in sophisticated labor. And my labor is, listen, if we can take the stress out of the move and turn it into an event, there's value added. When I say event, we go in with a smile. Okay. Number one, when we go into somebody's house, we put floor padding down on their hardwood floors. When we go up the steps, we have these special mats so the guys aren't, walking on people's carpet from the debris from outside. We wear booties. You know, a perfect example too was I won a very big bid. Actually, I do big house moves. Don't get me wrong, but I think my sweet spot is obviously the hyper local, but it's some of these smaller moves. Because I have the event business, so I have to pivot my manpower. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't pull all my A guys when I'm running events, so I have to be
Right.
very careful how I move my men around, right? And once again, I'm an
Right.
ops guy, I'm a logistics guy, so I had to do all that. But we won a very big bid. It was a purchase house in Westchester County, and she told me, I'm giving you the bid, and she must have had 5 movers because you were a one-stop shop. There's the value edge, a one-stop shop. And what that means is I was able to take her beautiful fixture, lighting fixture that was in her dining room. We were able to dismantle it because one of my event team members has electrical experience. Okay, and we were able to take it down, and our business is licensed. He was able to take it down and actually remove it. We were able to pack it, and we were able to put up an inexpensive light fixture. So when she was going to sell her house, there was a light fixture up there. And she said to me, because you were able to do that, all the other movers basically said you had to hire an electrician. On top of that, we were able to dismantle all her exercise equipment because that stuff had to get moved. Where other movers would say, "Oh, you have to call a gym company to do that." So there's the value add. We bundled everything together. We gave her one price, and she says, "That's why I gave you the business." And there's the value add, and it was natural. It was natural because we do all this stuff. We're very
Just evolved. What are the two
Yep.
websites for your businesses, Andrew, if people want to have an event or to move?
It's jengouldevents.com, and it's alacarting.com. And you
Excellent.
please follow the event business on Instagram because the stuff is just incredible. And once
It's
again, that's
beautiful.
Jen Gould Lux Events, and then a la carting is the moving business. But listen, this has been such a pleasure.
Yeah, the event settings look bright and happy and colorful. They're just beautiful. It has been a pleasure for us to talk to you, Andrew Abitamarco. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys. Thank you.